unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Ah man, you know, AB, alligator bait. Eddie Hearn says he's not interested in signing Adrien Broner at this space of time, at this particular point in time, this juncture. That's what I want to talk about this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. The best that's ever done it. We back. Subscribe to the channel. Now, Eddie Hearn was on the DAZN boxing show, and he spoke about basically the video I made where Eddie Hearn was commenting on Broner saying he's a free agent. And he's saying that he ain't got room for Broner on his side. This is what Hearn said to the DAZN boxing show directly. Quote, Broner is not the draw that he once was. There was a time where I was desperate to sign Adrien Broner. I thought he was amazing. I've had 3 or 4 messages in the last week with people trying to get me to work with Adrien Broner. He has value. He's still a good fighter. And he says he's ignored most of them. He explains why. He says, I just feel there's a value, a price, and I just feel that is one that Adrien Broner probably won't agree with. He'll struggle to accept that. Obviously, he's made a lot of money and been involved in big fights, but he's not the draw that he once was. He'll always be a draw, but because he's got a great story. He has value. Conor Benn against Adrien Broner is a fight that we were trying to make previously. Yeah, I would do that fight. He says Conor Benn, wants to fight Pacquiao, Eubank, Errol Spence, Gervonta Davis. These are the fights he's telling me he'll take next. But he says he would still be open to possibly do a Conor Benn fight with Broner. Now, I don't always agree with Eddie Hearn, but I understand where he's coming from. And he's basically saying it's a tough, I'm just going to paraphrase and give my thoughts. He's basically saying it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Adrien Broner, and the amount of money that he's likely going to demand and want exceeds the amount of his current market value. And I think this is something that a lot of boxers currently and in the past also struggle with. Boxing is not like the UFC. Some of them guys have 10, 11, 12 losses, and they're like Donald Cowboy Cerrone or somebody. And the same fans he had 3 years ago might still be fans despite him losing and like losing 4 fights in a row or whatever. It's a little bit different in boxing. It's boxing, and I don't know why it's this way. It's just different fan bases. But boxing is a what have you done for me lately sport. They are very quick to quote unquote replace you with the next great thing if you haven't been looking so hot. And for Broner, he's battled demons and different things outside of the ring. And, you know, I'm not going to kick a man while he's down. Everybody has their own personal struggles. But what I do know is at the end of the day, everybody has a story, and people just, they want to know you're either going to win or you're going to lose. You know what I mean? So Broner, if he's battled these demons during fights and stuff, all people know, we don't know everything that went on and how it happened and why it happened. But what people do know is what fights you won, what fights you lost, which fights were a draw. And Broner, his last fight with Santiago, some people even thought he lost that fight, right? And that wasn't a guy, in my opinion, I don't think Santiago is the type of name that a guy with the experience of Broner should really be in a competitive fight with. But I get it, he might have been off a layoff or whatever. But the reality is a young Gary Antoine Russell fought the same Santiago, and he stopped him, and he made it look pretty effortless. And then Mario Barrios recently stopped him in a fight as well versus like Broner. And Broner, you know, arguably lost. And then you look before that, he has a loss to Mikey Garcia and some close fights with Adrian Granados, close fights with Jesse Vargas, to the point where there were draws, or some people thought the other guy won, some people thought Broner won, whatever the case is. So I actually understand what Eddie Hearn is saying is basically Broner is not going to like the reality of the pay. And ironically enough, that's kind of in line of what Broner seemed to be complaining about with PBC. You know, he said he was leaving PBC and it didn't work out. He said because they ain't paying nobody, they don't have no money. But I don't think that's the case, because if that's the case, how are they doing Ryan Garcia, a fighter who's not even a PBC fighter, fighting Gervonta Davis? You know, how are they doing Benavidez versus Plant? So it's not that they don't have money. I think it's they don't have the type of money that you want for you, you know? But again, I think that also goes to your market value. And I think promoters are starting to, they say we're in a recession. They're starting to tighten up the purse strings, and the business got to kind of make sense. And that's what I think Broner is in a tight squeeze now, because he said he got this 10 million plus 8-figure deal with BOK Prime. And then now he says he's a free agent. He never even fought on the platform, which is all stuff that I predicted. You know, I predicted that, you know, I'd have to see how this BOK situation with Broner worked, but we'll see if we see 3 fights through. And then they didn't even get through 1 fight. 3 opponents later, the fight card gets canceled. Still haven't seen Mickey Bay and Tevin Farmer. That fight's been canceled numerous times, moved to different locations. So it's just, you know, that's where it is. So Eddie Hearn, who previously put out offers to Broner, I mean, now he's saying he don't even want Broner. He don't want to sign him. So that's difficult for Broner. He's in between a rock and a hard spot, because one, I think Broner has burnt some bridges in the industry, and like he's even fronted on Eddie Hearn and posted Eddie Hearn's contract, right? And then now Eddie Hearn saying we don't want to sign you. We offered you a 3-fight deal years ago, but now he's saying the numbers wouldn't jazz. So he's basically saying he's not even going to waste his time. Plus he also said F Al Heyman and Steven Espinoza. Like when he was about to fight against Omar Figueroa, he did that Zoom and he came on and he was like, yeah, they don't do this to Floyd. And, you know, and I'm not going to just bring up the whole, like, every detail of what he said, but he said something to the effect of why I got a press conference on a Zoom meeting. Y'all don't do this ish to Floyd Mayweather. Why are you doing it to me? And then he says, if they ain't down with me, then I ain't down with them. F Al Heyman, F Steven Espinoza. And then he came out and apologized maybe a couple of days later. So again, those types of things, people don't forget. You burn bridges. And then like Eddie Hearn, from his perspective, he might still be like, you ain't fought in a couple years. Your last fight was controversial, the Santiago, as I mentioned earlier. And in addition to that, you posted the contract and confidential like offers that we made you, and you posted the DMs and stuff like that. So you got to look at that now and understand that some people may choose not to want to work with you as a result. So, you know, difficult spot for Adrien Broner. And I feel different fighters get to this particular spot if the stock is not necessarily at its peak, at its fever pitch. It's no different than an actor. You know, you can have an actor who, let's say Chris Tucker, right? When Chris Tucker was younger and he was doing the Rush Hour, he was commanding like 20, maybe $30 million per picture. So he had a fat contract. He was getting a lot of money per movie from the success of Rush Hour Friday and Money Talks and stuff like that. But then more recently, you might not get 20, 30 mil if you haven't been, like, there's been a huge gap of employment where Chris Tucker really hasn't put out that many movies. He doesn't have like a huge, big stand-up comedy tour or anything right now, you know, or to this point. You dig what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the money's not going to make sense for Hollywood studios to invest in 30 million into Chris Tucker unless it's like Rush Hour Part 4 or something like that. And even then, since they've waited since the third one, you know, even that might be a gamble, because in the movie world, you can't wait too long for like, let's say, Coming to America 1, and then the second one doesn't come out until 20 years later, you know? Different things change. You can't get all the cast members. Same thing if they try to do another Friday movie. If they try to do another Friday movie, I mean, Debo passed away. John Witherspoon passed away. Bernie Mac, who was in the first one, passed away, right? Some of the characters are older, and I don't even know if Felicia, I don't even know if she acts anymore, right? So Miss Parker's older. You know, it's just a different ball game when you wait. And to bring it back to this boxing thing, that's how the game goes. You got to keep your stock high. You got to stay relevant and cash in when it's your time, because if too much time elapses and your stock drops, especially in boxing, if you lose or controversial, then people aren't going to pony up and pay you that top dollar. Now, if you can keep winning, or not even just win, you can even lose. But if you lose like Sean Porter, before the Crawford fight, which was his last fight, so I'm not even going to count that because it was the last fight of his career. But when he had other fights after, is because he always came with it, try to bring an intense fight. And when he was losing to Keith Thurman, you know, tough fight with Danny Garcia, lose to Errol Spence, it's hard to explain, but all losses in boxing are not created equally. You can lose, and then you can lose, you know what I mean? Like, you can lose, and what I mean is lose bad, where it's like, damn, you got knocked out in the first round, or you got schooled up like Canelo did versus Mayweather, etc. But you can also lose controversially. Like Triple G had no guys, had Max. Him losing to Canelo in second fight. The first fight was a draw. Second fight, he lost, right? It didn't really hurt Triple G at that time because there were large sections of people who thought he could have won the fight, right? So all losses are not equal. When it comes to Broner specifically, some of his losses have been like Mikey Garcia. There's not really a contest. His close fights, things like that. So we'll see what's next for Broner. We'll see if he, what his next move is. You know, I'm not going to speculate. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We unpack. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with a $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.